Welcome to the walkthrough for the assignment 2B frequently made mistakes that I observed when I reviewed everyone's solutions. First and foremost, please make sure that you follow the guidance at this link in Piazza. This is what the link says, and a lot of people left the comment in their code and didn't address it at all. So what I want you to do is make sure that you format your code and comment it so it's easy to read. So in particular, you need to say something like what I show you here, rather than trying to cram everything into one line like I show here. Moreover, make sure that you comment each of your lines of code in the stream something like this. So you might have the original page entry, and then you would have a comment that says what the get page elements method call does here. Then, of course, you have another comment that says you're going to create the results of that, the element array that comes back from get page elements into a stream. Then you have another comment that says you're going to take that stream and map to int and do a behavior. So write your code like this. It's much easier to read. Don't put it all in one line. Don't put the comments at the end of the various operations that are part of the stream. It just goes off to the right too far and is very inconsistent. So that was what I was asking you to do when I asked you to go ahead and follow the guidance that's in that link. Here's some minor things. These aren't really errors. They're just things that you should know if you're programming in Java. With Java, you don't need to put the E here. Again, you can remove that. Let's just say this instead of saying that. Also, down here, make sure you put the angle brackets there, the diamond, instead of leaving it like this. Don't use an explicit supplier object. Instead, just use the appropriate constructor reference. This is very simple. If you watch the videos, you'll see how to do that. Likewise, don't create a by consumer, just use a method reference. Once again, if you watch the videos that are describing how to implement the collectors, it's very straightforward. Don't write this code, use function.identity instead. And again, don't write this stuff out. Use function identity, much simpler, much more canonical. If you want to see how to create the set characteristics, the set of characteristics, take a look at the link here, which is the slides that go along with one of the videos that talk about how to implement non-concurrent collectors and follow that approach as opposed to doing all kinds of ad hoc things. Let's now turn our attention to the parallel streams implementation. This was pretty simple code, so most people did fairly well, modulo not commenting things consistently. A couple things. It's probably a good idea to check for null returns and return 0 if that were to happen. You don't need to create local variables. You can just return the results of the stream. Much cleaner, much more canonical Java code to do things that way. Here's the process image method. Once again, you should probably check for null and return 0 if you get null. And then here's something that I actually learned when I was reviewing code. Some people came up with a really clever approach that I like actually better than what I had been doing, which was something like this. Instead of having 2 calls to filter and 1 call to map, you can actually revise your code to have just 2 calls to filter. And that's actually a little cleaner. There's probably a smidge less overhead there. And the clever trick is to replace this call to map and filter with a single call to filter that checks to see whether the results are null or not. So those are the comments that I had. Those are really the frequently made mistakes. In general, people did very well. This assignment was deliberately meant to be very simple to demonstrate just how ridiculously easy it is to go from a sequential implementation to a arguably good implementation using parallel streams with minuscule changes to your code. For assignment 2C, which we'll release here shortly, you'll have to do a more advanced form of parallel streams. But even with this simple approach, if you run the app, you'll see that it performs much faster with the parallel version than if you use the sequential version. So that's a demonstration of how powerful the streams programming model is and how easy it is to scale things up if you follow rules like using stateless behaviors and just know where to put the factory method to make a parallel stream rather than a sequential stream.